Hello my lovely listeners, and welcome to the first of my Q&A videos. Thank you so much for sending your questions in to me, and yeah, can't wait to have a look at some of these. So I definitely want to keep these Q&A sessions for special events, probably subscriber milestones, and I'll just keep my answers loose and off the top of my head, and yeah, just play these videos kind of casual. Awesome, let's get going then. The first question comes from Elfangor. Would you be willing to do collaborations with other creators like a writer, especially since you yourself are one, as well as having a siren's voice? Thank you very much, Elfangor. I would absolutely love to do collaborations with other creators. I've done crossovers with in the past with other narrators, like Soliloquy Man. He featured on one of my videos, and I've done cameos for other people's videos. I've done work with Mr. Extremes quite a bit. I'm always very nervous about approaching narrators I'm not already on familiar terms with, because I'm not quite sure if they want to work with me since I'm still quite a small channel. But yeah, definitely if there's anyone out there who's interested in collaborating with me for writing projects or for a guest featuring on a video for a narration or something, yeah, just drop me an email or send me a message on YouTube and I'll have a look at it. I would really love to work with, as a writer-to-writer basis, with some other very talented people. Like, I would love to work with Soliloquy Man on something. I would love to work with Barnabas Damos. Adore his work so much. He's one of the reasons I got into this thing in the first place. Who else? I would love to work with Murphy, Wellhate Productions. We haven't worked with each other in a while, and I love to do that again. And Mr. Extremes, of course, very talented. But if there's anyone out there who wants to hit me up about collabing stuff, just drop me a line and we can talk things through. Our next question comes from John the Crazed. Are you ever going to do a face reveal and so your Patreon is the place to hit on you? Preferably not. If you want to hit on me, just do it in the comments below where everyone else is. First question, are you ever going to do a face reveal? It's something I've thought about, because it's kind of a question that's asked of any narrator who has a distinct persona. If I was going to do convention appearances, I would probably cross that bridge when I come to it, whether to wear some kind of half mask that would just cover my eyes, or to do a full face mask like Mr. Creepypasta did. He still wears his masks sometimes at conventions, even though most people now know what he really looks like. I don't really have any qualms about the way I look, so if I was going to a convention, I probably would walk around maskless, because I like the way I look, so there's that. And on my Instagram, I have put up pictures of my face, but cropped, so you can only see like my lips and my chin and neck and my hair and stuff like that. So I haven't done like a full face, air quotes, reveal, as it were, but I probably won't make it a thing like, oh, when I reach 1 million subscribers, I'll reveal my face, or when I reach 5,000 subscribers, I'll reveal my face, because, it'll probably just be something I want to normalize, and, just so that you guys aren't super disappointed when you see what I really look like. I probably would do a face reveal, probably in just a casual way, like, hey, I'm going to be at a convention, unmasked. If you're there and you want to take pictures or say hi, then awesome. And then I might post a picture of myself on Instagram, or if I was going to do a video or something, like if I was hanging out, if I went to the States and was hanging out with Murphy and we wanted to do one of those drinking videos, I probably would just be unmasked, because honestly I probably couldn't be bothered to make a mask for the occasion, but I might wear it from time to time depending on where the mood takes me. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that I'll cross the bridge when I come to it. But in answer to your question, probably not a reveal, like make a big thing of it, but I will definitely show my face in the future. Thank you for your question, John. The next question comes from Lucas. Congratulations, dear friend. Such a milestone indeed. Thank you very much. As for my question, if you were going to summon any character from the world of fiction to our own, who or what would it be? And what would you do with him, her, or it? Again, congrats. It's always lovely to listen to your wonderful voice. Thank you so much, Lucas. Appreciate that. If I was going to summon any character from fiction, Not to bring the mood down, but considering the state the world is in, I would probably want all of the Avengers. I'm a Marvel person, but definitely we need more superheroes in the world to kind of get the ball rolling in the right direction again. Like, the direction of progress and trying to help the world turn for the better, because I have a feeling it's going a bit backwards, which really isn't a good thing. So definitely some more superheroes. I really, really needed, and I'd probably be acting as maybe some kind of just a roommate that helps to keep them sane so they don't tear each other to pieces. Maybe a kind of Barbara Gordon thing, so I would be like the Oracle, keeping tabs on what problems there were in the world and how best to attack them. I don't know, something like that. If I was going to be a little bit more to my personal interests, like if it was just a character I could summon for as a friend or companion or something like that. Just because I'm currently reading it at the moment and I'm really anticipating the series. Elias Ainsworth from Ancient Magus Bride. Oh, I would love to have him as a companion and mentor. I love Monster Boys and really cool, like, archaic Fae character design, especially anything with, like, skull faces and thorn details and stuff like that. So, definitely Elias, because I live in London, so I love going and out into the countryside and exploring the hills and forests and things like that. So, it would be wonderful to have him walking alongside me and teaching me all about the Fae and magic and all kinds of wonderful things like that. Yeah, so him and who else? Laura Palmer from Twin Peaks, because my god, that girl needs a hug so badly. Twin Peaks is kind of one of my biggest obsessions, and it's a show that really means a lot to me. So definitely Laura Palmer, if only to save her from what happens or what happened to her. And god, that girl needs a hug and a strong cup of coffee, a slice of cherry pie, and someone nice to talk to. Yeah, sorry to bring the mood down, but Laura Palmer and Dale Cooper as well, because Dale Cooper's awesome. Again, from Twin Peaks. Awesome. Thank you for your question, Lucas. The next question comes from Michael. What got you into reading stories to people? It's kind of a combination of a lot of things. I was never one for really kind of being the center of attention. I didn't like performing in front of others. I didn't like feeling people's gazes on me or the direction turned towards me. I got kind of into the idea of really liking the idea of the storyteller as an archetype, because I grew up with watching Jim Henson's TV series, The Storyteller, and I loved the warm comfort and presence that John Hurt's character as the storyteller brought to each of the stories. And even though there was always puppetry and fantastical images and other actors, whenever he would speak, your attention always drew immediately back to him, and he had this amazing, comforting essence to his voice. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of episodes up on YouTube. If you want to check it out, I highly, highly recommend it. It's aged really, really well, even though I think it was like the early to mid-90s when the series came out. Still highly recommend it. Maybe not for really young kids, because some of the stories are a little bit on the dark side. Again, that's another reason why I liked it as a kid. But definitely recommend that. So I liked the archetype of the storyteller as an idea. When I got a bit older, like in my late teens to early 20s, I kind of got into LARPing, and I liked being able to perform your character's stories in a bit more of a theatrical sense, but you weren't really performing it on a stage in front of others. You were just friends messing about in costumes, which I got really, really into. I would do the full makeup, elaborate costume, elaborate costuming. Nowhere to the extent that I've seen photos of people in Germany and other European countries do for LARPing. For people who are wondering, I played World of Darkness games, so Vampire the Requiem, Changeling the Lost, and I tried to get into Mage a bit, but wasn't quite for me. But I think that kind of helped me get out of my shell a bit and get into the idea of telling stories and really kind of embodying them, as it were, which I guess in a strange way kind of then leads into the way that narrators, or horror narrators at least on YouTube, they create personas that they can kind of use as a conduit or a channel to tell their stories through. Yeah, but all throughout high school and most of university, I was painfully introverted. I seldom spoke to anyone at all because I just didn't really want to bother anyone with my opinions or what I had to say, so I just didn't speak. Kind of what got me into reading stories, like bridging into narration. I think it was maybe when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I was trying to get the people in the group to do a little more role playing scenes. Like the group I was with, we didn't end up being quite the right fit, so I ended up leaving it a few months later. But I remember I was trying to speak in character, and the character I was playing was a deva, so they're these ethereal angel-like creatures. So I was trying to do a archaic angelic voice. That soft whispering voice that I do for narration sometimes. And the person who was hosting, his wife came into the room and she remarked on how nice my voice was. And I took that as a really nice compliment, and I appreciated that because not a whole lot of people really paid attention to the way I spoke or took notice of it. So yeah, after that, I think the first... oh god, the first narration I actually recorded was when I was home alone one night and I got a little bit drunk on red wine and I started recording myself reading some truly terrible fanfiction I wrote. Okay, it wasn't truly terrible. At the time, I was very proud of it. That's why I narrated it. 1, no, it does not exist anymore. And 2, no, I will never re-record it and upload it because it is lost to the sands of time. But I remember, because I tried to do the voices for all the different characters, my accents were terrible, and that definitely needed quite a bit of work, but I liked the way I spoke normally, the way I would articulate sentences, and, yeah, from there, that kind of settled, and, then a few years later, I picked up the idea again on, hey, maybe, like, I really kind of came into realizing just how awesome creepypastas were and a lot of the narrators were. And I was thinking, hey, my voice isn't too bad. Maybe I can give this a shot. And, yeah, so I just, I recorded 1 or 2 narrations, testing out pacing, and I would listen to a lot of audiobooks and radio dramas. So I got an idea of editing and timing and breath. Like, when could you allow people, when you're just reading lines of dialogue, to have breaths for emphasis or to add to a scene, and how it hit the ear right in editing? Because sometimes you can definitely tell when a sentence feels fragmented in its editing process, and it just doesn't quite hit the ear right. So yeah, mostly what got me into reading in the first place was The Storyteller, a TV series by Jim Henson. My desire to really start to become friends with other narrators. While I haven't really made contact with a whole lot of the other, air quotes, big name narrators, as it were, I'm still hugely thankful for the amazing friends I've made already. I consider Murphy one of my absolute best friends and one of my mentors when it comes to narrations. And what really clued me in that maybe I can keep going and not just do 1 or 2 videos, but maybe make a consistent thing of running a channel. When I made my first, before I made my first narration, I was having some trouble with my microphone. Like, the sound wasn't coming out quite right, and I wasn't quite sure what levels were best. And Murphy had made a series of essentially narration 101 videos on how to set up your mic, how to use the basics of Audacity and stuff like that. But even after watching the videos, I wasn't quite getting the results I was hoping for. So I sent him a message on Tumblr just asking for some advice and what levels he used. Yeah, he got back to me and said he told me what to do. and also said, oh, when you put your first video up, link it to me and I'll check it out. And at first I thought, oh, that's awesome. One of the people I really admire is going to see my first video. And then a few minutes passed, and then, oh my god, one of the people I admire is going to see my first shitty video. Because I wasn't planning on releasing any videos for maybe another month or so. But I figured strike the iron while it's hot, and I recorded my first narration, which was Israfel by Edgar Allan Poe. Put that up on my channel and sent the link to Murphy, fingers crossed, and he really liked it. And I was really taken aback by the feedback I got, because he shared it on Tumblr and a little bit on social media, and I was kind of genuinely floored by the response I got for that video, because I just did it just to see if my voice was any good to a wider audience. And then from there I kind of picked up, like, oh, maybe just try one video a week, just do things that you find interesting and stuff, and see how it goes. And now I'm at 2,000 subscribers. So you never know where just giving something a chance will take you. And if you want to try out narration, go for it. You're not going to know how good you are until you're not going to know how cold the water is until you jump into it. Yeah, so that's kind of what got me into reading stories to people in the first place. I hope that answers your question, Michael. Awesome, thank you. Our next question comes from Kevin. Congrats. It seems to me at least YouTube would have different groups of channels for ads to choose from, or that might have creepypastas since ads look for family friendly. Anyway, question. When looking for stories to narrate, what are some things you want or things you avoid? Just the first part of the question comes from, because I mentioned in the announcement video about how advertisers were leaving YouTube, and yeah, it's since really hurt my revenue streams, but that's not important at the moment. It's tricky because a whole lot of advertisers that would suit horror or alternative channels don't seem to really be out there, unless they're movies that are distinctly suitable for advertising. But you're far more likely to see ads for things like makeup, TV series, more popular movies on, say, channels that specialize in current events or vlogs and things like that. Like the over million subscriber channels. So smaller channels like mine, advertisers are probably going to invest more in advertising that's more geared towards that direction, rather than smaller channels which are focused on smaller subgroups. So that's why Patreon is super important. Not trying to plug it, but check it out if you're interested. Sorry about that, Kevin. So yes, back to your question. When looking for a story to narrate, I look at what I've done in the previous weeks and just see if there's anything that's a little bit of a different from the norm, or I haven't done in a while. So if I haven't done, say, a Edgar Allan Poe story or a fairy tale in maybe 2 to 3 months, I'll have a look through to see if there's any that fans have requested, and yeah, just see what takes my fancy. Most of the time it's whatever I feel like, or if it's for a particular occasion, like for Anzac Day in Flanders Fields was a fan request, and that was perfectly timed. That the request came through. I do have a short list of stories and poems that have been recommended or requested by fans. So if I'm really stuck on what I feel like narrating for the week, I have a look through the list. I try to go after the ones that from people who have been waiting longer, if I get around to doing their request. But sometimes it might be something like I haven't got as much time to record, so then I'll choose a shorter piece like a poem or micropasta or something like that. But things that for me have to be a prerequisite to get on for me to be interested in narrating them, they have to be gripping, they have to be engaging in some way. And it can be that the story itself is interesting and well structured, but I feel like it has to be something that I can add something a little bit more to it by narrating it. So if it's a story that's written in first person perspective, like it's a first person account, I really gravitate towards those, because then I can add a little bit more individualism to them with just kind of flex my acting chops, as it were, to add different pauses and breaths to sentences to really add a sense of, just add more oomph to a story by reading it. Or things that do things unexpectedly. So stories that I really like doing, for example, one of my recent videos by Mercury Coated Veins, A Word of Caution. I really like that story because, one, I love vampires. Two, it was told in first-person perspective so I could have a bit more fun with it while narrating it. And three, it kind of took it in an interesting direction. And so those are three really good things that I look for in stories to read. And of course, there's the classics like Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe. And because they're done quite a bit by horror narrators, I try and think of what hasn't been done before or what can I add to it. Everyone's voices are unique, so two people reading the same poem is already going to be quite a different experience. But I just try and think of what more I can add to it, either with subtle sound effects like I did with my reading of The Hound by H.P. Lovecraft, or other little things like that. And in terms of things I want to avoid in stories, things that are boring, honestly. Things that have unsatisfying conclusions. Or this isn't including things like troll passes, which are designed to be tongue-in-cheek bad. Because then I'll keep in mind those for when I do my April Fool's videos. Things I avoid. Mostly things that are boring or things that might be super popular, but it's just more like a trend that I don't feel any enjoyment out of narrating. I want all my videos to be pieces that I put 110% of my efforts into, that are things that I'm proud to have on my channel. In the past, I think I've done one video just because I saw a niche that could be filled. I don't think anyone had narrated this story before. And I don't like it. I wasn't proud of having it on my channel. I'm not going to point out which one it was. But it's just that I felt like I was filling a void rather than reading something I was happy about reading. Like I wasn't fully invested in it. People seemed to enjoy it. Audience members enjoyed it. But it just didn't really feel the same for me. I'm not going to take it down or anything because I'm still pleased with how it came out. But it just felt like I was pandering. And I never want to do that. I would be interested in trying out different things, like different genres, different styles of narration, and just try and bring a bit of versatility to my channel, or just seeing what people like. But in terms of story structure, things I avoid, overdone cliches that try too hard to, or they just try to do something too differently and it feels really forced. Stories that are boring, or stories that are generally dissatisfying, I think, or things that have been done to death. Because I have considered reading some like classic creepypastas, like Jeff or Jane the Killer stories, but so many people have done those, and I can't honestly think of anything new I can bring to them. So if I feel like I can't genuinely put my best efforts into it, I'll avoid it or politely turn it down if it's a request. But I'll always try to articulate why it didn't work for me in the best way. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Kevin. Thank you so much. And the last question, thought I'd end it on a higher note. The one question I got from Tumblr, from Anonymous, are you weeb trash? The answer to that is nowhere near as bad as I was in high school. In high school, I was the weeboo, obsessed with Inuyasha. I ran like Inuyasha. Yeah, I was that asshole. I'm nowhere near as bad now. To be honest, I haven't watched as much anime recently as I probably should have. There's a ton of amazing new series out there that I haven't gone around to watching. Though I have watched One Punch Man and the first season of Attack on Titan. I enjoyed both of those. Haven't watched the new season of Attack on Titan yet. If you guys ask other questions about anime, feel free to, because I can give you a short list of some of my favorites or ones I'd recommend. But if I'm weeb trash, yes, I was in high school. No, I'm not nearly as bad as I am now. Awesome. Thank you very kindly, Anonymous. And so that wraps it up for tonight's Q&A session. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. Really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll definitely make an announcement for when I plan on doing another one of these. And yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you so much, my lovely listeners. And as always, stay wicked and wonderful. Good night.